Avengers Endgame was the culmination of a story spanning 10 years. Now, it wasn't the best movie ever made, but it was a satisfying conclusion to one of the longest running stories in film history. But when you take the perspective of the villain of the story, the Mad Titan Thanos, it becomes kind of hilarious. So let me put you in his shoes. Now, you are the Mad Titan Thanos. You are a tyrant, a liberator, a guy that saunters in, kills 50% of a population, and then fucks off like a dad when he's gone to get some milk. Whether or not your plan to solve overpopulation is the best course of action remains to be seen. But what you do know is that you're trying to fix a problem that exists in this universe. And to do this, you need to do it by one thing, which is gathering the most powerful artifacts that exist, and then basically snapping your fingers so that way it's all done randomly without pain. During your liberations, you picked up 2 daughters and a whole host of people that support your cause, and these 2 daughters have proven to be quite useful creatures all in. One is truly wonderful and is also probably going to end up becoming the successor to your kingdom, and the other one is now an android, essentially. But one day, you're just minding your own business, you just liberated a planet, and you were literally wiping off the blood of some poor woman who drew the short straw when you get news that you found a stone. That's when one of your daughters, Nebula, falls to the floor and produces a hologram of some human? You guess? It looks a bit like Gamora, only without the green skin, and he seems to be wearing like a suit made of metal. Kinda cool, but then you hear they should just wait for another human to pop up, and then that way they can steal the stone from him. And you're just like, hang on a second. Nebula's gonna steal the Power Stone? Nebula. This is pretty incriminating, honestly. Father, that's not me.
Her synaptic drive was probably damaged in battle.
I don't know, daughters, unless like another version of Nebula has come from the future back to our time and is transmitting data to our Nebula, this is pretty damning. Of course, the one that was trying to kiss my ass all day is the first one to betray me. It's always like this, isn't it? Talk about overcompensating, you'd think that she had a penis. But now you have to do the unfortunate thing of extracting the truth out of her. Luckily, thanks to some techno magic, you can just get there at the push of a button by extracting her memory files, because apparently her brain is also a machine. And now you can find out how deep this treachery goes. My lord, it appears that she's telling the truth. Yeah, right, bro. Yeah. I'm supposed to believe that, am I? Her files are entangled. That memory isn't hers. There's a timestamp from
9 years in the future.
Corrupt files, But what did I tell you about using the Earth calendar system in front of me? We don't do that here. My apologies, my lord, but it appears that there is another nebula sharing the network with our nebula. Fine, I'll humor you. Get the duplicate's memories and find out anything about the Infinity Stones. You're not gonna let a golden opportunity like this pass you by. And you watch as you see multiple humans talking amongst each other, talking about all of the Infinity Stones. And for one, you're pretty shocked to realize that these humans are that well educated. From your best estimates, humans are practically cave people. And here they are talking about the most powerful things in the universe as if they are just day-to-day objects. More, these guys are from Earth. Are you in on this too? Is that why you use the Earth calendar system? Because you're in on this? I'm so disappointed in you. No. What? No, my lord. Wait, these are Avengers. You know them, father? Yeah, they're just cockroaches from Earth, but that's besides the point. I sent some Asgardian god to deal with them a few years ago, but he just got his ass beat by them. They had some kind of medieval knight, some jar of sweet corn or something, and some roided up guy in spandex. Oh, and the god of hammers. Loki lost to a medieval knight? Something to that effect, yeah. He's called Tony Stark or Iron Man or whatever, but I just drew some conclusions. Father, didn't Loki have the Mind Scepter? My lord, according to this file, the Mind Scepter was the Mind Stone. Wait, didn't we already know that? You know, my lord, that was very unclear.
Flashback.
He's found an Infinity Stone on a planet called Morag.
Father's plan is finally in motion.
1 stone is in 6, Nebula.
It's a start.
End of flashback.
2 different nebulas. No, it's still the same nebula, she just hasn't betrayed me. Yet. "Oh, father, please, I would never." And then you watch as another version of yourself is talking as though he got all of the stones and actually managed to destroy them. Like, it's a short-sighted decision, sure, but you have to respect the balls on this guy to destroy the Infinity Stones. And he actually managed to get all of them, and so it seems that every version of you is
inevitable.
So you watch the hologram to see them trying to undo something another version of yourself did in their timeline. My lord, this is your future. No, I gotta catch them all. It is my destiny. And then you watch as the other version of yourself has its head cleaved from its shoulders. And that is Disney actually allowing a beheading live on camera. I mean, that is destiny fulfilled. Disney? Doesn't matter, anyway. And then the Moor tries to strangle your daughter, and you're just like, bro, come on, like, this is golden opportunity here, like, calm the fuck down. We're gonna use this to our advantage. You can try and find a way of putting your Nebula into that team of Avengers, because, you know, they're identical in every way except for, well, that golden plate on their head. But first you need to capture the other Nebula, and by some more techno magic, you are able to paralyze her just before she's about to send herself back to the future. And you get her aboard your ship. And then for some reason, Nebula and Gamora decide that they want to go and interrogate her. Bear in mind you have access to all of her memory files, so why they felt the need to go and interrogate her rather than just extracting the information through her systems, you don't know, but at least they're gonna have some fun with that. And it doesn't take too long because Nebula comes back with some vial of magical red stuff. What is this? Like some kind of blood? No, father, it's particles that allow you to shrink in size. And how do you know that? Well, the other Nebula told us. They used this to shrink in size, passing through something called a Mobius strip inverted, going into the quantum realm and using that to travel backwards in time. Wait, Mobius? Is he going to appear? Oh my god, are these Avengers working with a TVA? That's a big problem, isn't it? Oh my god. Father, if you reverse engineer that, then you'll be able to shrink down the ship. Wait, wouldn't we need more than just this little vial to shrink down a ship and our entire army? You know, like, this amount of magical bullshit seems to be about one use per one person. Wouldn't we need like a vat the size of a small moon to like make an entire army shrink down? Probably, father, yes. And how do you expect me to get all of that? I don't know, father. So you want me to use this red liquid, reverse engineer its mechanisms, so I can shrink this ship small enough to pass into the quantum realm? A thing that we didn't even know was 100% true until this very minute, and then wait for you to maybe switch on a device to send us back in time. How will we even communicate with you? Don't worry, father, you can do it all off screen and it'll be done in a heartbeat. Oh, why didn't you just say that sooner? Oh, thank god, that actually solves a lot of those problems, doesn't it? Now we can let people draw their own conclusions. So you send these particles to your best scientists and hope that they can reverse engineer them. And it works. You manage to shrink down the entirety of your ship. Off screen, of course. In the meantime, Nebula gets to work. In a few moments, she sends back a signal. And you and your men arrive in a very dark and desolated place because, you know, you just blew it up. So you get Scotty to beam yourself down to the planet. And Nebula's like to you, hey, what are you gonna do? If you know anything about heroes, is that eventually they will come to you. So you sit your ass down and rest your back because, frankly, it's tiring trying to carry two movies. Or at least definitely the previous movie, frankly. Like, that was really your story. And now you're feeling some variant trauma. Speaking of which, where are those TVA dickheads? Like, these creatures are fucking around with time travel, something the TVA hates. But nah, nada. It's wild. These Avengers must have some insane plot armor, and that might prove challenging going forward. In the distance, you hear some Avengers talking, saying something about, what is he doing? And you even think you hear one of them say, he's just sitting there, menacingly. Then three of Earth's mightiest heroes appear, even though one of them is an Asgardian. And it's the medieval knight, the Hammer God, and the guy that's on the juice. And the Hammer guy, he really looks like he's let himself go. He looks more like a dilapidated pudding than a god. And after seeing what these ungrateful wretches want to avenge after what your variant did, you realise no matter what you do, if life remembers that you killed 50% of their friends and family, they're going to want to get some sweet, sweet vengeance on your ass. So simply put, it's just better to destroy everything and start from scratch. And make a new reality, but this time with blackjack and hookers. But seriously, it's like they don't even know that you're trying to stop the Celestials from destroying their planet. Like, come on, I know it's established a few movies down the line and you still have to draw your own conclusions, but that's pretty much the game plan, right? That was your plan? Right? Or was it some sadistic dance with death? Because you love her so much. We don't know. You don't know. This is all very ambiguous and no one has a clearly defined answer. But all you gotta do now is break these fools' ankles and get the stones. And they look like they're ready to go for a cheeky 1v3, which you're more than happy to oblige. You are a match for any god of hammers and apparently axes too now? Any medieval knight and any person that's on the juice, because you are on the juice yourself. But it turns out the medieval knight is not actually made of iron, but is in fact wearing some magical techno bullshit suit. But that doesn't matter so much because you can still kick his ass. And you give it to them good. You don't even need your minions. And you show these Avengers what's up. These guys managed to defeat your variant. That guy must have been pathetic. Anyway, you use the hammer guy as a punching bag until he throws his axe at you. But you just catch that shit in midair and start using it to try and gouge a hole in his chest. Then you get hit in the head with the hammer. And you look back and it's the roided up spandex guy. And he just looks at you holding the hammer and you're just like, is this supposed to be a big moment, my friend? Like, you're holding a hammer, whoop-de-f***ing do. Anyway, time to deal with this clown. Turns out that hammer is not weak. Pretty strong and it lays you the fuck out. And he's doing combos, like he's been practicing with this thing all of his life. And he's just like, didn't he just pick this up like 2 seconds ago? How is he able to do this? And I mean, out of all the gimmicks, how are roids and hammers the one that are gonna beat you? Like a human with steroids and a hammer. I thought roids were meant to make your hammer smaller, not stronger. And apparently he can summon lightning now too, and there is no end to this magical bullshit. Anyway, you cleave that guy's shield in half and you send him on his ass. And you whip out your Shatari army. And you tell the spandex man that you're about to enjoy what you do very much, as though you've been gooning at the Pornhub like a North Korean soldier in Russia. And he actually walks forward alone. I mean, you gotta respect that. Like, no backup, no man, just him and a broken shield. Commendable, but stupid. And that's when a portal opens. Finally, the TVA is here. Christ, better late than never. Oh, no, that's not the TVA. That is African soldiers and wizards. And now you realise that you have a literal war on your hands. After a brief moment of fighting some wizards and African soldiers for some reason, you're supposed to be in America and there are no American soldiers here fighting against you. But whatever, this is how it is, apparently. You'd think the country with the largest military budget in the world would defend against a literal spaceship over their cities. But what do you know? You are a titan. Not a human. But you can't dwell on that too long because Ebony points out the gauntlet. And you swing your blade and toss it on the floor and victory is within your grasp, but as you run towards it, some other person with magical bullshit shows up. This time it's Red though. And they say to you,
"You took everything from me."
I don't even know who you are.
But out of all the magical bullshit that you've suffered this day, this is by far the worst. And good lord, she is strong. So you call your troops to rain fire, because you think this is like the only way you can distract this lady. And that's when you see yellow magical glowing bullshit come from the sky and go straight through your ship, destroying it. And you're just like, okay, it's fine. If we get the gauntlet in the end, all of this is worth it. A little bit of sacrifice, it's fine. And that's when the magical yellow glowing bullshit lady picks up the gauntlet herself and assembles with all of the women. Which is a surprisingly controversial moment in 2023, which is when the movie is set. But you identify where they're going to take it, which is some beat up old van in the middle of the battlefield. So you know, you toss your blade into it, destroying the whole thing and basically circumventing their entire plan. Why you didn't do this before, we don't know. But hey ho, we got there in the end. And you see the gauntlet on the ground and once again, victory is in your grasp. You are almost salivating at the thought. You almost get a finger on it when the medieval knight comes out and stops you. And then the hammer and axe guy, who seems really hell-bent on trying to hit your head, and then the spandex guy. And you get them good and you knock them out cold. Finally. And that's when magical bullshit number 3 comes back and she manages to stop you in your tracks. You don't know what's more surprising, the fact that she thought that haircut looks good, or the fact that she can actually hold her own against you. But you swat her away like a bug and get your hands inside of the gauntlet. Finally, the moment that you've been waiting for. But you can't savor it for too long because magical bullshit number 3 comes back again and actually manages to hold your fist open. Why does it have to be a snap? But she gives you another cheeky 1v1. And for a second you think she might actually beat you. Now wouldn't that be awful? All this time, all this planning, all these stories, all finished by someone that only had one movie previous to this one. Now that would have been a tragedy. But thankfully you realise that the purple stone is the power stone and you can use that to beat her, which is exactly what you do. And you breathe a sigh of relief as you put that stone back in its slot. And now you can savor it. You feel that rush of energy flowing through you. This thing, maybe you could have had a dwarven made gauntlet, maybe this would do less damage to you, but hey ho, you can't argue as long as you get the results. Now you are going to win, and there is no one that can stop you. And then of course the medieval knight comes back again and tries to stop you, but it doesn't matter because, you know,
I am inevitable.
but nothing happens. Turns out you forgot to check if the stones were still in there. Never mind that, you know, there's no energy flowing through you at that point in time, so how you were able to overlook such a monumentous thing is quite bizarre actually. And you look over and you see the medieval knight with all of the stones in his hand, and he looks you dead in the eye and says,
Iron Man.
and you sit down and you watch your whole world turn to dust. He did it. The mad lad did it, and you were beaten by some medieval knight. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a like, and also consider subscribing, because I do a lot of these videos now. Apparently this is my thing. I just want to shout out my members, especially the Talent on X, Lavender, Yuri, and Alan. Thank you, have a great day, and have a great life.